Katja here. Welcome to yet another adventure in settings. This time using a really awesome Galaxy Cape by Costurero Real, probably not pronounced that correctly, as a backdrop. I'm kind of trying some different things, enjoying all of it, so nothing is set in stone or anything. I kind of like trying new stuff for every video. I'll probably be repeating some settings though, but you know, so today I thought it would be kind of cool to talk about my business. Like, what is it I do? Because when I did the Eowyn headband tutorial, you guys were really sweet and said like, oh, I really like that you include your things in your videos, and a lot of people said that they actually don't really know what I do or what it is. And then I realized I talk a lot on my Instagram about my business and such, but not really on YouTube. And of course I really like YouTube because you can make longer videos and people can hear your tone of voice, and just feel like it's easier to talk about bigger topics that mean a lot to me on YouTube as compared to Instagram or Facebook, where it's all in text. So today I want to tell you guys about my business. What is it? So first I'm gonna be showing like what do I make, like simply like the items and materials and everything. Talk a bit about that and the creative process and such. And then afterwards I'll talk a bit more about like the technical aspects of running your own business. So hopefully that video will appeal to everyone, but maybe in different ways. I sure wish when I started my business that there had been some who were more willing to talk about the more boring parts of it. So I'll try to lightly graze over those and still attempt not to make it too long. So first, let's talk about what I make. So what I make is textile jewelry. For example, the piece I'm wearing here, which is a collaboration piece with my super talented friend Manic Moth. I hand make all of it myself in my home office, and it's all made from sustainable materials and sustainable sources. So what I use is fabric yarn, and this is all leftovers from conventional textile production. So, you know, when H&M makes a t-shirt, whoever makes a t-shirt, there's a lot of leftover fabric, little strips of fabric that would usually just get burned or thrown into a landfill. But it's turned into yarn instead. So it's a really good way to do sustainable production is to use leftover materials or materials that would otherwise be waste, because any way you can use materials that doesn't require new production is a good way to go. Now, I have also found a brand of textile yarn that actually also use 100% recycled fibers. So they recycle all the fibers and then they manage to turn it into one long strand. Sometimes there will be knots along the way, but that's great because then you can recycle in a lot of fibers that maybe have had weird shapes or were otherwise not suited to be turned into textile yarn. So that's also super sustainable. So those are kind of, so most of the yarn is also 100% recycled, but some of it is just the leftovers. It kind of depends on what's available for me and what colors I'm looking for, and thicknesses and such. But it's always kind of a gamble, you know. I buy from a small Danish local shop, and they're always like, oh, you know, red tones, like who knows, even the black sometimes vary. So it's kind of fun also to see what you receive and what you can make from it, because of course the thickness of the yarn and how stretchy it is and such will always determine the outcome of the jewelry. But it's all cotton polyester mix, so t-shirt fabric. Think a t-shirt, a soft t-shirt, that's what it all is. And not only is the material itself stretchy, it also means that the results are super stretchy. So here we have this necklace, which is very similar to what I'm wearing, but with a fabric covered ring instead. I call these coil. And as you can see, everything is super soft and stretchy. And that's what I love so much about this, because you guys know I'm a comfort nut. I just have to be comfortable at all times. And sometimes jewelry, metal jewelry can become really uncomfortable for me. The closures always get tangled in my hair, all these things. So I really wanted to try and make comfortable jewelry. Now maybe you're thinking, how do I keep these rings stiff if I only use sustainable materials? Well, the cores of these are always metal. I've tried to use wooden cores, but I didn't think it worked so well. These are always metal, and I sourced these secondhand too. I even got some like leftover O-rings that were badly scratched from a company that I then bought them, because who cares if they're scratched if I'm going to cover them anyway. And I do definitely spend a lot of time hunting for sustainable materials, because you guys know that this means everything to me. So I combine the sustainable materials with my handmade labor, and I pack it into undyed, unbleached cardboard shipping boxes in varying sizes depending on the size of the order. And I don't use any plastic at all. And the cardboard can be easily recycled because it's not mixed with anything. Or of course, I hope people reuse the boxes for other things, gifts for friends, shipping other things on and so forth. So sustainability and comfort are the two main points of my jewelry making business, accessory making business. And then I also really enjoy this sort of chunky Viking aesthetic. It's sort of unisex. I finally got some photos of a man wearing them that I will be posting too, because a lot of people are like, oh, when are you gonna make something for guys? And for me it's like, you know, like the belts, they're not inherently feminine. There's no reason a guy can't wear these. I also, by the way, make these belts that you can either wear as belts. They have these little tassels on the bottom. Super soft and stretchy. You can wear them as belts, or you can wear them around your neck as sort of like a necklace or a scarf. And as you can see, the pieces are very easily combined because I use the same techniques. And everything kind of has this rope-like material. I have a big problem with photographing these because people think they're braided. They think they're flat, when actually, as you can hopefully see, all my knit, the belts, the necklaces, everything is completely round. It's not flat at all. And it's simply my greatest photographing challenge ever, is photographing these so that they don't look flat. I don't know how to do it. If anyone has any tips, please let me know. I'm open for anything at this point. It's a really big challenge. But yeah, that's what I make. Of course, most of it is black because that's what you guys want. But I am currently working on the Lifeblood collection. And the Lifeblood collection will be only deep bloody red, which is a color I love, you guys know. It will be available on February 5th. I just want to show you guys this piece, which is still not completely stitched done. I feel like the monitor makes it lighter than it is. It's like a really deep, oh, that's better, super deep burgundy, like a cold dark red. And I personally love these pieces. If you're more interested in the Lifeblood collection, you should follow my shop Instagram. I'll put a link in the description. So now let's talk about the more boring part, the non-creative aspects of having your own business. So first thing I want to say is I've only had my business for about 6 months, and I can't live off of it alone. I can't even live off of it and Patreon alone. So I do all my social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I run a shop. I run extra content for Patreon, and I also have a part-time job on the side. Just to sort of give a realistic image of what it's like. Because I don't know anyone who were able to start their own shop or business and go straight into working full-time, earning a wage where you can quit your job. I'm not saying that to discourage anyone, but I always try to be completely honest with how it is, because having your own business is really, really tough. You have to do everything yourself. Taxes, all these different forms and things. I now try to, instead of just going to the post office as a regular person, I try to make a deal with the postal company as a company, you know, because I have a company. And it was hell. It took over a week. I was on their customer service every single day. Nothing worked. You have to figure out how to print out everything from home and such. There are just so many elements that you need to be prepared for. So you have to schedule your time in a way where you also have a lot of time for the non-creative part. If you think that you can just go to work full time and then make some necklaces in the evening, it's going to be really difficult, because I think I and many people I know underestimate how much time the administrative part of having a business takes. So of course there's setting up and running an online shop. You're being your own webmaster. I use Storenvy, which is fine, but ideally, of course, I would love to have my own web shop at some point. I have an education within IT. I can do HTML, CSS, WordPress, JavaScript, the whole thing myself. And even then, I would totally hire someone to be my webmaster if I could, when I'm gonna have my own web shop. I would also, if I could, totally hire someone to help me with the physical act of packing orders, printing all the labels, getting all the addresses right, marking everything down right, driving to the post service. There's a special point for like business deliveries and delivering it there. I would love to have some help with, you know, product modeling and photography. I also do all that myself. I have some friends who help me with modeling sometimes, but I do all the photography, all the editing, all the social media promotion, which is a huge part of it. And then of course I'm also the CEO of the company, so I have to deal with all the taxes. I'm the one that gets the phone call if there's something that's not perfect or I've messed up some forms or something. At least the Danish tax system is not easy. Even as like just a citizen of Denmark, I often struggle with figuring out the tax system, and now as a company it's overwhelming. So please don't take this as a discouragement. All I'm trying to say is be realistic with the amount of time it requires. Now, depending on where you live, the tax laws are completely different, so I can't really give any advice on that. All I'll say is stay on top of how much you're allowed to make, because most countries will have like, oh, you can have like a hobby business on the side, which is quite easy to keep track of also in terms of taxes and such. But at least in Denmark, the limit for how much you can own with a hobby business is extremely low. Like I surpassed it in my first year, and I only had the shop for 5 months out of that year. And I'm not making a ton of money or anything. As I said, I can't even live off it. So just really be aware of that. Be aware of your country's laws on how much you can make. And prioritize what you can deal with yourself and what you need help with. So, for example, I've now admitted that I need help with the tax and sort of, how do you say, like the, what is that word? I literally had to get up and Google that. My mind was completely blank. This happens when English is not your first language. It happens occasionally. Accounting. I needed help with the accounting. Because it's not that I don't understand it or that I'm bad at math or anything. It's simply about prioritizing. Because you can't do everything yourself. You can't be everywhere at once. And I could see my business was growing, which I'm really happy about. But it also meant that the accounting part and the taxes part was getting too overwhelming for me. So I did some research and I asked a friend who also runs a small business about her accounting needs. And you're entitled to offers from different accounting firms. So you are entitled to a free, no strings attached meeting where they tell you what you can do, what they can do for you. So shop around a bit, find your needs, unless you're like crazy skilled at accounting, but for example, maybe have a big problem with misspelling words. So you need someone to help you write out all the names and addresses and print out that. It's all about finding what areas you can take care of without too much stress and which areas are simply requiring an amount of energy that you can't offer, if that makes sense. So for me, being my own webmaster, for example, it's something I'm used to, it's something I feel skilled at. Taking my own photos, it's the same, it's something I do for my regular social media. Running my social media for my shop ties in with the other social media I do. I feel like I can manage that, even though it's overwhelming. But for example, the accounting is simply draining me too much. So I chose that part to get help with. And of course, ideally, once I make more money, I would love to get help with other aspects as well. So don't expect yourself to be some superhuman who can take care of everything. And don't be discouraged. But running your own business is really hard. And I'm only saying that actually to maybe stop people from quitting. So if they go in and they think, wow, this is really hard, they think, okay, it's really hard for everyone. That's actually all I'm trying to say with that. Because of course I really encourage and support small businesses everywhere, as you can probably also see from my Instagram. So if you're walking around with a little dream inside you of opening your own business, I definitely say try it. As I said, when you're still doing it as a hobby and you're not making as much money, in most countries the demand on things like accounting and such is quite low. So you can dip your toe in the water, but at some point you also gotta like jump in and be like, this is what I want to do. For me, it was really scary to hire an accountant, because it's like, oh my god, I'm committing now, you know, because if you've hired an accountant, that's not cheap, and the business goes under in a few months, you just out that money. So for me, that was like, I kind of freaked out about it. But you also gotta commit at some point, and I'm trying to tell myself that. So of course this barely scratched the surface of what it's like to run your own business, but I wanted this video to be sort of entry level and maybe also interesting for people who aren't planning to run their own business. I'd be very happy to answer any sort of questions in the comments section. If there's anything you feel like I grazed over too quickly or didn't touch enough on, I would be really happy to clarify anything for you. This video was a bit more technical maybe than others I've done, but I wanted to show it off because, as said in my Irwin headband video, I'm really proud of this. I'm really proud of what I do. I'm really proud of the Lifeblood collection I'm currently working on. I love it. I think that this technique, focus, this technique that I've modified and the look and everything, I feel like it's me. I feel motivated to do more designs. I want to share that motivation, not in a braggy look at me kind of way, but in a let's lift each other up, it can all happen kind of way. So I hope this video carries that message across. Thank you for watching the whole thing, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye!